immediately before a week time saying there was nothing done wrong when we hear that this young man was engaged in some kind of argument that was on tape, that his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away.
The fact that he is there with his friends, and you look at all the videos, it seems to be he's the only black on the island, or maybe one other, but not many.
He loved everybody. He didn't care if you were black, white, purple, green, looked like a marshmallow. Like, he just wanted everyone to be in peace with one another.
Okay, so the situation with the key. When we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there, and they were...
Nolan Wells' family had a press conference today. Not just a press conference, they pretty much went on a social media run. They were on Good Morning America, I believe CBS, and probably some other stations I didn't get a chance to look at. But I did look at the press conference, and I looked at 2 of the interviews they did, and they gave up some exclusive details, like exactly what were the messages erased from his phone, exactly how they got the phone back. Because if you guys remember, even in my last video, people were questioning. There was rumors the girl gave it back, rumors the friends gave it back. We know exactly how they got the phone back. And you know what? That even raises suspicion of how they got the phone back. Plus, how they got his keys back is even worse. Stay tuned, Fugitive TV. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do here is we take a look at cases of missing individuals or cases where, hey, we have to catch a fugitive and they've done something horrific to the family. But I give you a different look, a deeper look, and also a different perspective. Now, you see, I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran for 15 years, lived in different countries under different names, then eventually turned myself in. Now, because of that experience, I use that to help others locate people who are missing or even fugitives, because I know what it takes to vanish, or I should say to vanish. So because of that, I can give you a different look, or sometimes, you know, just a different point of view. Well, right now, we are talking about Nolan Wells. Now, a lot of people were emailing me for the past week to do the cover Nolan Wells. Now, if you guys follow Fugitive TV, I don't just cover one story and go with it for months. I cover multiple stories as much as I can. I don't have a lot of time during the day, but the time I do have, I come in and I share it with you guys until I can start doing this full time. Well, I looked into Nolan Wells and I did my very first video. And I gave you guys, which were some facts, but then there's a lot of hearsay, she say. This story has a lot of that because a lot of the facts have not came out. And today, guys, there was a press conference and we are in luck because we got some questions answered, as in how Nolan's family got the phone back. Exactly. Now that's going to raise suspicions. Not only that, Nolan's keys. Now, see, I didn't know they had his keys. I didn't know that either. And then Nolan's car was still at the friend's house. I didn't know about this either. So we got a lot of questions answered today.
When we hear that this young man was engaged in some kind of argument that was on tape, that his cell phone and keys ended up with one of the people that were there on the island and got away. He was one black with 3 young white men who happened to end up with his phone, happened to end up with his keys. Then there's just too many questions. Now, I'm from Brooklyn, so I'm a little different than some of y'all. I was built different. My nose is out here, my eyes are here, my brain is here, which means some things I could smell before I could see and before I can figure out. This does not smell right. So some people are saying, Reverend, are y'all bringing in race? Well, we're not bringing in race, but we're not discounting race either. They go on the 4th of July, on the anniversary of this country, going to an island, we're outing with his friends, and the friends come back, and he's left there with some story about he said leave them behind. But then by some magic, one of the friends has his keys and his phone. Mind you, his mother tracked down the phone. They didn't voluntarily tell her they had his phone.
Now, my first video, I told you guys, I said I didn't want to make it about race as in black versus white. I pretty much hate doing that, right? I wasn't there. I don't know any of these gentlemen. I don't know Nolan, God rest his soul. I don't know the group of friends that he was with. So I can't tell you exactly what they were thinking. I can't tell you what Nolan was thinking, all right? But what I can tell you is where this happened at in Mississippi, out of all places. This is why, if you're wondering why race could possibly play a factor. Not saying that the group of kids he was with, his 3 friends or 4 friends, whoever he was with, not saying that they're racist, okay? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is the system.
If the roles were reversed and you had 3 young black men on a boat with a young white man, and that young white man ended up dead, what kind of investigation would be being conducted by the Mississippi law enforcement officials? How many times would those 3 young black men be interrogated? So all we're asking is the same consideration you would have given if the roles were reversed. Give that consideration to this family as well.
The system, okay, in Mississippi, Alabama, those little southern states like that, yes, color can play a major part. You have to remember something. There's a documentary, and I didn't realize how bad Mississippi was until I saw this documentary. It's a documentary with Morgan Freeman. He comes from Mississippi, all places. Who doesn't love Morgan Freeman? He did a documentary. You guys try and look it up. It is very hard to find. I will get the name for you. So this doc is called Prom Night in Mississippi. Came out in 2008, and it's out of his hometown of Charleston, Mississippi. Okay? And this documentary opened up some eyes for me because I didn't know about this. Now, see, I grew up in Los Angeles, California. Big city. No, it's not a small. Obviously, Los Angeles, California. That's where I was born and raised. I'm not saying there's no racism there. There's racism almost everywhere you go. But it's different than being in the South. Totally different. I thought KKK and Ku Klux was a myth that we just learned about in history books. I've never in my life, being in California, saw anybody with the whole get up on until I went to the South and actually saw it from my own eyes. Like, wow, this stuff is real. All right. Now, I live in Florida now. Now, Florida, you have South Florida and you have North Florida. North Florida is a whole lot different than where I'm at in South Florida. Totally 2 different places. North Florida, you feel like you're in Alabama, right? But this documentary, Prom Night in Mississippi, came out in 2008. And basically, this documentary is about a prom and how Morgan Freeman and a lot of the black students want to integrate the prom. Yes, you heard me right. 2008. Proms were still segregated by race in Charleston, Mississippi. And during the interviews, a documentary, for the white kids, the white kids weren't racist. Most of them didn't mind. A lot of them were friends with the black students and they wanted a prom together. It was a lot of the parents of the white kids because they grew up in these little small southern country towns and they felt that, race should be separated and race should stay with race. Ever since I saw that doc, all right, and like I said, it's 2008, guys. Yes, it's almost 20 years ago, but still 2008, you didn't think this would exist, all right? And even during the documentary, they still had two separate proms, because even Morgan Freeman wanted to pay for the prom and be, integrated. The parents of the other, they said no. So they still have to have two separate proms. Guys, go see it if you want to learn. It's a very good doc, and it's hard to find, to be honest with you. It really is hard to find. But ever since I saw that, I knew Mississippi was no joke. So I drive a lot. I drive from Florida and I go to New Orleans. I love New Orleans. And I have to go through Mississippi. I have to go through Biloxi, where this happened. Guys, I don't stop. I drive straight through. I don't care if I got to use the bathroom. I don't care if I'm hungry. I will take a cut from the back seat, whatever. I do not stop because I just don't want to be a victim. And even though I've never stopped there and been there, I've seen enough from these movies like this and documentaries and Mississippi burning and what happened with Emmett Till. I've seen enough of that. So I don't want to even try to see if it's real or fake. And I just keep going. Now, Mississippi has that history. So because Mississippi has this history, I can understand, and anybody that has some sort of common sense should be able to understand why, okay, some people are talking or bringing up the race factor. Now, it's not necessarily saying that the kids are racist or the students are racist or anything like that, but the system could possibly be racist. As in, if something did happen with Nolan, like a lot of people think happened, they don't think he drowned. They think something actually happened with him, okay? The system could be covering it up because Nolan's just the black kid. Cover it up. Let's let the white kids go. All right. Let's take a listen to what else they said.
This notion that where he drowned, y'all have, I'm sure, seen all the videos out there. I mean, if he's drowning, nobody sees him drown. Nobody offers assistance. Nobody tries to help him. I mean, obviously, he stands out. I think, the only black person I saw when I'm looking at the videos. And if you see him drowning, you mean nobody is going to try to help him? It's not adding up.
Nolan is the kindest soul. He never met a stranger. He loved everybody. He didn't care if you were black, white, purple, green, looked like a marshmallow. Like, he just wanted everyone to be in peace with one another. He loved life, and God gave him this big heart, which always scared us. Me and his dad had conversations with him all the time, not just about the importance of understanding our history as black people, but also the importance of how you have to move in certain spaces. And it's not us feeding into racism or the stereotypes that comes with that. Unfortunately, that is just a matter of fact. There have been many cases, many instances that shows it's unfortunately a pattern that he did not like. He did not like that there was so much division, and I think that's why God gave him us. He was really a peacemaker.
So you got a bunch of, and I said this in my last video, contradicting stories. The friends are saying that he was here with the girl, and then the girl's saying, no, he went back with the friends. And there's also an argument. We know exactly now what they're saying the argument was over. The argument was over his phone.
And then the fact, Reverend Al, that they have this video of an argument that is going on. And thank God, all young people, they have cell phones, and anytime you hear people raising their voice, they start the video. And so you hear on the video, Nolan saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And that becomes even more relevant when you think about the story that they are presenting, that Nolan chose to stay behind. That's what they're saying. But his phone, he wouldn't take that with him if he's going to stay behind on an island? I mean, we're talking about an 18-year-old kid. What teenager would leave their phone behind if they're...
So that video where you hear them arguing, it's over his phone. What could possibly be on Nolan's phone that they're arguing over? And then they're saying, Nolan's saying, give me my effing phone back. So why did they take his phone? What was on his phone that they didn't want on his phone? And my question is, who was he arguing with? And what individual actually had his phone? So if there is an argument and Nolan's saying, give me my phone back, and we all saw the video and all these kids are surrounding that area, that means people there knew exactly who had the phone. So the person who had the phone and Nolan's arguing with, are these other people scared of him? Is this guy a bully? And is this guy the one who's responsible for what might have happened to Nolan? Because my question now is, who is the one Nolan was arguing with to get his phone back? And why did he have the phone in the first place? So all these stories about, which I reported in another video, about Nolan leaving his phone in the boat and then taking, they're leaving back with the boat because the boat's getting capsized or something and his phone was left in the boat. Because I had people reach out to me saying, oh yeah, it's common people leave phones in the boats and things like that. And I told you guys that. People were reaching out to me saying that, which I understand. I live in Florida. I go to the beach. I leave my phone in the car. I don't take it with me to the beach. But also, I'm a grown man. All right. I'm not a teenager. I'm not a kid. So I'm a grown man. I'm a little different. I know how to move around now. I know how to look over my shoulder. I know how to watch out for red flags. I know a little bit different than what I did when I was 18, 19, 20 years old. When that age, you're just living life and trying to party. You're not looking for red flags. You're just, it's a little different. So I understand. And people were saying, oh, it's known to do this. It's known to boat hop, all kind of things. Maybe that's what some people do. But that doesn't mean everybody does it. And one thing we do know is kids nowadays love their phones. They love their phones. They don't go nowhere without a phone. Our punishment when we was younger was what? Go to your room. No TV for you. No TGIF Fridays for you tonight. No Family Matters. None of that. You can't go outside and play. No riding your bike today. That was our punishment. The punishment now is, give me your phone. Oh, these kids will flip out. No! Give me your phone. That's the worst punishment ever now, is give me your phone. Give me your phone is worse than give me your Nintendo controllers. Give me your Sega box. It's worse than that. Give me your phone is the ultimate punishment that I've seen in my lifetime now. These kids will flip out. But who had the phone? Exactly. And why did they want his phone?
So our friend actually, when I called her, Nolan is best friends with her two sons, Jalen and Javon. When I called her, I said to Shima, have you seen Nolan? He's missing. No one has seen him. No one has talked to him. The boys were actually with her sons. So they opened up their Snapchat because a lot of the kids do have their locations where they're tracking one another. So one of the boys says, well, it's showing that I can't exactly remember what his location was showing, but my Life 360 location was showing something completely different. It was actually showing that his phone was like he was on land. And so we ended up, she received the phone from that parent, and then we met up where his car was, which was at a separate location. My sister and I actually went through Nolan's cell phone, particularly Snapchat, because that is so popular with the children. And when we opened it up, there was nothing. There were no saved pictures. There were no snaps from that day. and we did open it before the 24-hour expiration. So we found that very concerning, only because anyone who's ever been around Nolan will tell you at social gatherings, he's taking videos, he's taking pictures, he's even come up to me when I'm getting ready to go to bed, hey Ma, come on, take a picture of me. You know, like that was Nolan. So that's why we feel that things may have been deleted, was because of the fact that there was nothing in either one of his accounts.
And the mom says, and this is another question we had, how exactly they got the phone back? And I told you guys in my old video, or the video I did yesterday, I said it was so much contradiction out there. That's the issue with this case, guys. The issue with this case, if you hear a creator that's probably given some misinformation and you're like, that's not right, don't blame the creator really, because there's so much information out there. You really don't know what's real. I read from an actual news source that they got the phone back from the girl he was with. Then I read from an actual other news source that the kids had the phone on a boat and the kids gave the phone back to the parents of Nolan. And I'm not talking about a news source as in this is Mike's neighborhood news. No, I'm talking about a prime news source as in Fox, CBS, CNN, WKV. That's what I'm talking about. So when you have these news sources giving you different conflicting information, a lot of it isn't our fault, because we'll look at something. Let's say, for example, we'll look at let's say New York Times, and we're reading like, okay, New York Times is a reputable source. We're going to go with that. Now, me, I like to read multiple sources is what I like to do. But some people stick with one source. You know, I'm not going to hate on whoever does what. But I see why there is so much information out there. And I see why Ben Crump is saying, yeah, a lot of it's because you have this journalist reporting this and this journalist reporting that. Now, is it because a lot of journalists, what they'll do is try and go out and get stories, interview people, things like that. Now, is it because the people they have got this information from are lying? Or remember, everybody's pretty much blaming one another, right? Oh, Nolan was with the girl last, and the girl's like, oh, Nolan was with them last. That's what's going on with the phone too? Hey, what happened with Nolan's phone? Oh, we didn't have it, but the girl had it. We think she gave it back to the mom. Do you have Nolan's phone? No, we think his friends had it. They gave it back to them. So is that what's going on? And the journalist's like, all right, they were at the scene. Let's take what they say. But as we see, she got the phone back herself. They didn't bring her the phone. She had to look on the phone app. She looked on the Snapchat location and then looked on Life 360 location. Both of those locations were showing different. But the 360 location, if I'm listening right to this, is saying that the phone was at somebody's house. And then a friend of the family had to go get the phone. Now, when they brought the phone back and they got the phone and they finally got into the phone, she said she noticed all of his snaps and everything was deleted. And she said she also checked it before the 24 hours was up. Because if you guys don't know how Snapchat works, just in case, Snapchat works, it's an app. You take videos, whatever it is, and you send somebody a picture or a video or even a text through Snap. And what it does is it automatically deletes within 24 hours. Now, it automatically deletes from your phone, but not from Snapchat itself, guys. Snapchat has a cloud. This is how a lot of criminals get caught. They start talking about narcotics and deals over Snapchat, thinking they won't get caught because it disappears. But police, all they have to do is subpoena Snapchat, the company. And it takes a few days, sometimes a few weeks, but then they get all that stuff you thought was deleted. They get everything, pictures, videos, all that stuff from Snap because it's actually saved. So if anything was deleted, it still can be recovered and they can look at that. So they said they opened up Snap and everything was deleted. And they said that's not like Nolan because Nolan is always on Snap. So now we know exactly what was deleted. Now the information with the keys, guys, this is new to me. I didn't know they had the keys. Most of us probably didn't even know that Nolan's car was still at the friend's house. Now that right there is very suspicious.
Okay, so the situation with the key. When we got to the house, a few of his friends, they were already there. And they were at the door in the house, asking questions. So when I walked up, they were getting, things were getting kind of tense. So I turned to them and told them, I need you guys to calm down. I don't do this to me right now. I need them to kind of trust me so they can give me something. So I was able to calm them down. So the guy, he's in one of the pictures, he came out of the room, half asleep or whatever, I think Jack's or whatever. And I said, look, I'm Nolan's father. I'm here to get his keys so I can get his car. I said, he's like,
His car was in the yard.
his car's parked in the yard. So he was like, I don't know, man. Nolan's like my brother. I said, well, if Nolan was like your brother, would you please go in your room and see if you can find my son's keys so I can take his car home? He walks off, 2 or 3 minutes, come back. I can't find the keys. I said, okay. So at that point, I get the boys and I get to move them out the house because I didn't want them to go into the house and start tearing up these people's houses because then that would be a whole nother situation. So we walk outside by the car. One of the guys that was in the house with us, he was on the phone with a girl, and the girl told him that Nolan's keys were on top of this Jack's guy's Xbox in the house because apparently she was there with him earlier. So he goes back up to the door by himself, and 5 minutes later, the keys come out. So now I feel like you done lied to me. So now I'm really like in distress with you. But as far as that night goes, if I knew anyone who had a boat, I would have went out that night looking for my son. We tried, but I don't have friends with boats. But if I knew someone with one, I would have went out that night. And this so happened that his coach saw all the stuff on Facebook that next morning and called and contacted me at like 5 in the morning, asked me, did we want to go out? And I told him yes. So within an hour, he was at the dock. We met him, and we went out. We docked the boat, got off the boat, walked on the island, walked a pretty nice stretch, came back, got back on the boat, went around the island, looked, came back around, and where we went to, that's where apparently they say that his body floated up. I don't know a lot about water currents over there, but I would think that we would have saw his body. Mm-hmm. And on the trip there was a family that stayed a night on the island, like actually tented out on the island. So if he was left, he would have saw that family on the island, and there was 2 other boats docked, so he would have had help. So I don't know. I don't know.
You know Nolan's missing. You know people are looking for him. You got his car at the house. Now, I can understand if the car was down the street. I can understand if Nolan was at your house with his keys but not his car. I can understand that because you might not have know where he put his keys or might have forgot it, okay? That can be logical. But to go to your home and you have a whole car in front of your home, that's not your car, and the car belongs to a missing individual that is technically is supposed to be your friend. How do you not call up the parents like, hey, his car's here? Do you guys want to get his car? His keys are possibly here. You want to get his keys? So we have a lot of questions when it comes to that. Now I see why the family believes something happened to him. Now we all was like, okay, yeah, something could have happened, but over what? Because even me, I was like, but why? Over what? And then I would think like, yeah, maybe it was an accident and, the kids are trying to cover it up, which still could be true. All right, still could be true. And then I was like, well, it is possible for drowning because everybody knows it's possible drinking water, hot weather. It doesn't mix. It is possible for somebody to drown and all these kids just not pay attention. Because like I said, I did a couple cases where it's happened. So it's possible. But the information in this case, though, is not connecting correctly. Out of everything I've learned in life, all the people I've been around in the free world, jail, prison, people who are straight, people who do criminal activity, I could tell you what they all have in common. Every single one of them. Almost every single one of them, probably all of them, do not want to get caught with their hands in a cookie jar. Because even a saint does something to put his hand in the cookie jar sometimes, or has. If they think they can close that lid and walk away at the kitchen and maybe put the cookie back and get away with it, hey, let's all forget I even tried to take cookie, guys. It's pretty much what they all have in common. And the reason why I'm saying that is, do I think Nolan was out there with these kids and these boys, whoever they were, and maybe they purposely wanted to get rid of him, dump him off somewhere? I'm not saying anything's possible, but I don't think that's the case, because I think their plans should have, if that was the case, they probably would have had a plan, to be better. It wouldn't have been done on this island with all these people around, right? It probably wouldn't have been done that way. You're in Mississippi. You have all these places where you could take a black individual and do something with. And we know this. So I don't think they would have went to an island with all these people. Now, do I think maybe something happened? A fight? A kid lost his temper? That, guys, I can see that right now. I can see that. Something happened. Kid lost his temper. Kid did something. And unfortunately, Nolan lost his life. Now everybody's panicking because nobody wants to get in trouble. You have all these kids out here who are white. We just got done covering Carmelo Anthony, and we saw what happened with that. Say all these kids out here who are white. And then you got some kids that are probably generally, like, oh my God, that was my friend. And, I'm going to get blamed too. And what do kids want to do? They want to cover it up. Kids usually do not want to go out and tell the truth of what happened, especially if they think they're going to get in trouble. They want to cover, let's try and cover this up. You might have one that, hey, let me call my mom. Think about the movies, I Know What You Did Last Summer. Think about that. I know it was a movie, but also it gave you a real life situation of what young people could do. They're driving, they're drinking at the same time. Oh, we accidentally hit somebody. The person does not survive. These kids got futures. Parents are judges and lawyers and politicians. We can't hurt the family name. My mom and dad will be peed off. My college tuition's out the window. My new car to go to college is out the window. Let's try and cover this up, guys, so we can continue living our life. I can see that happening all day long. And my question is, if that did happen, why? What was on the phone? Why was Nolan's phone taken away from him? Who had the phone? There's at least 30 to 50 people out there we saw on the island. Somebody knows who he was arguing with. But is everybody scared of that individual? And if they are scared of that individual, why? What kind of power does that individual's family hold, maybe in that area? Are people getting paid hush money? Could be possible. I told you a few videos before somebody tried to pay me off on the Carmelo Anthony video. Tried to offer me $250. What do you think I am? No, sorry. So, because some people are getting paid off just to spin a narrative or not tell the whole story? I don't know. You guys stay tuned. The last video I did, which had the interview where the young lady was interviewing the witness that was there, and that witness was talking about the phone for my last video. Well, I have an interview coming up with the lady who did that interview on TikTok, all right? And she said it wasn't even a planned interview. She was just on TikTok and they were talking about Nolan Wells, and then this girl joined on her panel and then started, and come to find out that girl was actually, she was there. She knows the whole thing. She lives there. And from there it turned into an interview. So the lady who hosted the whole TikTok panel, I'm going to have an interview with her soon, all right? So we're working on a time for that, and I'll let you guys know about that. Please like and subscribe. Continue to follow. We are almost at 30,000 subscribers. My goal was to hit that by the end of the summer, guys. It looks like we are going to hit it. So let's go. So please hit that like, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, join the membership if you can. If you can't, that's fine, as long as you support the channel by at least subscribing and watching the videos, or at least make a comment, because that is free and it helps with the algorithm, all right? Even if you have to comment where you're watching from, even if you don't agree with me, we have no hard feelings here, guys. Everybody knows I'm an easygoing person. You can comment what you want. Let's go. This is Fugitive TV. Until next time, please like, subscribe, love one another, like one another, take care of one another, look out at your surroundings, watch your surroundings. Until next time, I am out.